Well, hey, everybody, glad to be back with you again. And today's topic is how to turn your online course into a passive stream of income. Sounds like another interesting and desirous topic, David. Who wouldn't want this, right?
Oh, well, I think anybody that has in our space who, um, loves to help people, loves to sell their knowledge, sell their expertise, take all those lessons and things that they've learned over the course of their life and turn them into not only, things you can make money from, but things that can help people and things that are
Yeah.
the potential to be able to really make a difference and build a business. And courses to me are one of the best ways because this is a passive income stream ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get it built, once you get the course built, and if you get it set up correctly and marketed correctly, you can then send traffic to it and sell this thing for years.
Mm-hmm.
You could be continuing to just keep selling access to your course
Mm-hmm.
and just generate passive income from it over and over and over again. And this is one of those things that, it's like, and what if you had 3, 4, 5 courses that you created and you could just keep sending traffic to it and keep selling, just keep selling the courses and keep creating more. And just this could be, and you just run a little ad to it and keep getting people to see your marketing information and they keep buying your course. This could turn into an amazing supply of free cash flow in your life. And so it's a great way to do this. But in the same breath, most people don't build their courses correctly. They don't build them in such a way that people really want to buy them. And so even if they run ads, even if they do social media promotion, even if they're sending traffic to their marketing pages and their sales pages, people aren't buying. And then they get discouraged. Well, courses don't work. Well, that's not
Right.
really true.
Right.
But you maybe haven't created or positioned your course correctly. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today is how do you create a course that people want to buy?
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting because even recently, so weekly, I send out a couple different emails to my email list. And at the bottom of each of the emails, I'm promoting, my book or a course or, a program I have. And I was reminded of this even just a couple weeks ago where I got an email that said somebody had bought my course that was based on my first book that I wrote. I created that course 4 years ago now, and it's just kind of a perpetual marketing, thing that I keep out there to my followers. And all of a sudden you see a sale pop up right in your inbox. I'm like, you know what? I haven't even touched that course in years now because I created it once, like you said, and it's there. And as I continue to connect with my audience, as I continue to talk about topics that are relevant, that the course is a complimentary offer to them. It's not even a hard selling thing that I was doing in that case. It's just listed under, at the end of my email, like, hey, if you're ready to take a next step, check out this course. And I had a buyer, right? So there's so many different ways I think that, we can push this out there to the world, to a warm audience and to a cold audience, like you're mentioning, even with marketing campaigns and ads and things. But the reality is, the beauty of it is, like you said, you do it once. If you craft it right, and it's reaching the right audience in your, and it's connecting to what they want and need, then you're going to get sales. And I think that it's just really important for us to remember that the upfront work that we're going to talk about today can pay a big dividend long term.
Well, and the important part of this is, and this is just where I see so many people fall down in the process, is that, yeah, they've created a course, but how they market it, how they position it, how they communicate the value of what they've done doesn't really connect.
Right.
And as a result, it doesn't matter how much traffic you send.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you send 10 people or 10,000 people. People are going to look at it and go, I don't get it and I don't want it. It's not for me. And because you haven't positioned your course in such a way that people really are going to say, whoa, I want to buy that. That's amazing. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I need. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was, number one, are you solving a problem that matters?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that far too often gets ignored. Is somebody gets excited about something. Okay. I think this is cool, so I'm going to create a course about it. Okay. Does anyone else think it's cool?
Right.
Does anyone else think this is a problem that they would like to have solved? Is this something that people would actually pay for?
Mm-hmm.
And all, we've seen this a lot, and people putting out things, for programs, you know, selling there as well. NFTs were a big thing. And
Right.
everyone's like, you need to create, and I heard all this stuff around authors. You need to create NFTs around your book, and you need to do this and that. And I'm going, why?
That was
It,
one of the shortest shelf life topics
Mhm.
I think that I've heard about in a long time, by the
Right.
way.
And here's the thing is, think about your conversations with people as you work with people over the years and are doing different things with people. Have you ever heard your prospect, a person that like, okay, this person would actually be a good prospect for me. They're my target audience. They're the people that I am really ideally suited to serve. Have you ever heard them say, I need help with this? And so when I heard, like, you need to create NFTs around your book if you're an author, I thought, as a person who used to help run a publishing company, I met a lot of authors.
Right.
Never once did I hear an author say, man, my life would be so much better if I just knew how to create an NFT around my book. Never once.
Right.
Never once did I hear that. Never once did I hear that
Well,
being a voiced problem.
Well, I was going to say, in fact, a lot of people were skeptical because they didn't. It's that whole thing of, if you don't know anything about something, you're afraid to waste money on it. So it's, a lot of people still do that with cryptocurrency, right? Like, it's still so confusing to people what this thing really is, that there's still people pushing crypto, but there's a lot of people who are like, I'm not touching that because I feel like I'm just going to throw money down a black hole because I don't know anything about it. NFTs, to your point here,
We're a
has
black
been very
hole.
similar.
Right. They
Yeah.
were a black hole. I mean, there are people trying to sell like pictures of purple gorillas for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think it did work for a little while, but you're looking at it going, I can go get my own picture of a purple gorilla for free off of Google. I don't need to pay you anything for this thing. This
Well,
is ridiculous.
don't you think that, like, and not to get off track here, but to your point though, is I think that where we have to really be mindful right now is, like, AI is a hot
Mhm.
topic and it's here to stay. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of people trying to capitalize on it. I get a lot of
Right.
junk promotions about AI right now, about all these things and I'm like, you know what? I don't know enough about this to really want to jump on that offer, because I'm like, I feel like, do you really know anything about this? Or is it because it's still developing? There's still so much of unknowns out there. And I'm sure there are some AI experts out there that are valuable resources. But once again, I have a friend who anything AI, she just gets so excited about. And I'm like, but what's the end goal of this AI? Like, you're just fascinated with it. And
Right.
that's
It's a
okay.
shiny toy.
Right. It's a new
It's
shiny toy that you need to be
right.
careful of not just getting sucked into. And I'm like, I don't think, you really need these tools that you think you need right now based on, you just think they're awesome. And I'm like, I don't see the value of that for your business.
Right. And I agree 100%. So you need to think about that very practically. Is this something that is going to make a difference for me in my business or in my life? Is this something that if I employ this, it's really going to do something that I've been trying to do this thing and I haven't been able to do it, but now that I have this tool, I can. Like, is that truly meeting a need, or is this something that's more of a distraction? Which
Right.
I think in many ways, a lot of these AI products that are getting pushed out there all the time are. I
Yeah.
think they're a distraction. I think they are it's like, oh, look, this is good. This could do everything for you. And then you get it, and it's another one of those, you play with it for a little while and then it gets set aside and nothing ever happens with it.
Right.
And it never goes any further. And so, you really just, when you're creating your course, when you're doing something, and if you want a course that's actually going to last and not be one of these courses that you can sell for 2 months,
Right.
and then the fad goes away and no one wants to buy it anymore because it's off to the next fad. You have to just ask yourself, am I solving a problem that really matters?
Yeah.
Am I truly, is this a problem that I know the people that are in my audience, the people that are with me, that are following me, this is something that this is important to them. This is, again, we've talked about this too. Everything you do should be aimed at one of two things. It should either be aimed at helping someone achieve something that they're struggling to achieve. Like, I have a goal, I have something I'm trying to do in my life, I have something I'm trying to achieve, but I just can't quite get there. I'm struggling to get all the pieces together. I'm struggling to line it all up and put it in place. And okay, so I can offer you something that's going to help you achieve that goal, or at least help you achieve a section of that goal.
Right.
Great. That's perfectly fine. Or they have a problem. I have a problem in my life that I need to solve because this is causing me issues. This is bad. This is a bad thing, and I need to deal with this, and I need to fix this because I'm tired of this problem in my life. Well, okay, I can show you how to do that. I can show you how to solve that problem. And those are two things. Are you solving a problem or meeting a goal that matters? And so how do you know? I'm like, first of all, you got to be able to know your audience. And like, you recently gave a speech to a bunch of people, and even then you were commenting on, those were my perfect, because that's my perfect avatar right there. Those are the people that I'm really ideally suited to serve. But you made an interesting comment afterwards. You said that even then they're giving me lots of feedback that was very valuable to me, and I thought, we're always learning about our avatar.
It's like market research, even in an audience.
Right. You're getting little bits of feedback from them. You're nuancing the perfect, like, so maybe I'm 98% of the way dialed in on this one idea, but if I go it this way,
right,
I'm 100% dialed in. And so all those, even when you're in the room, like you were with all those people who were perfectly suited for you, you're still getting nuances. You're still getting little things that you're still learning about your avatar. You're still fine tuning things and getting to know it better and better. So number one is, think about the people that you're already working with. Think about the people you're speaking to. Are you in line with what they're saying?
Yeah.
Not with what you're telling them, with what they're saying. Is this something that they're saying? Yeah, that's exactly what I need. That's important to me. That's something that's a huge problem in my life. And as well, you can also go online and do a lot of research on this. Number one thing I'd recommend people do is just go on Amazon. Look for books on this topic. If you have a topic that you're trying to address in a course, you should be able to go on Amazon and find books on that subject. You should be able to find some level of books that and other materials that are on there that are talking about it. And then, so if you don't see any books on your subject matter, that means one of two things. That means it's so new that books haven't been written on it yet. It's just very much, cutting edge. It hasn't even had books written on it yet. Or it means no one's really interested in it.
Right.
And no one's bothered to even research or write a book about it. Because here's the thing, used to be that writing a book was I'm just going to say it this way, and I don't want to insult anyone, a much bigger thing. But with the way that the publishing landscape has shifted, with self-publishing, with all these other publishing options that have happened, there are now 4 million books a year getting published.
And once again, don't forget, AI is writing a lot of books right now.
Right. And AI is only going to expound that even further.
Right.
So being a published author 25 years ago, 30 years ago, that was,
right.
That was really different and unique.
Right, because it was a high bar to get published.
Right. So now publishing a book on a subject is not, the bar has dropped so low. It can be done quickly. And it is being done quickly. It doesn't mean all the books are good. But it just means, and I mean that with all seriousness. A lot of these books are getting published and written, and you're like, oh boy, this is.
Well, we've talked about that before, where it's easy to slap an attractive cover onto a piece of garbage, and sell books, right? And if you're a good marketer, you don't have to be a good author to be a good marketer. And a lot of people, that's the thing, right? Credibility becomes harder and harder to establish
Mhm.
in our current environment when, now when you know that you can go to chat GPT and say, outline a book on this and then write the
Right.
chapters for the, like you can tell AI to write your book for you.
Right.
And
Or at
then,
least write the outline for it.
yeah,
Right.
right. And it's like, and I just wonder, right? I mean, I think that's going to be a challenge over the coming
Mhm.
years is, who truly has that working knowledge. And I think it goes back to this whole course idea too, is, you know, you can create courses using AI if I mean, there's lots of tools out there, but once again, who has really solved the problems that you're talking about?
Well, and the problem with the AI versions is they all sound alike. After a
Right.
while. Because AI is not coming up with new ideas, it's just compiling summaries of all the existing ideas.
Right.
So they all start sounding alike after a while.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what you want to do when you want to go on Amazon, you want to look for these books and hopefully you're finding books on your subject matter. And when you do, you want to see that at least a number of them or a handful of them are big sellers.
Mhm.
You want to see that there's a few of them that are selling quickly and frequently. And it's not that, some people say, well, then there's already people here. Well, but that's not a bad thing. What
Right.
that's telling you is there's an existing market for this and that people are buying books on this subject because they want to know more.
Yeah.
They want to learn further about this subject. That's a good sign. That's what you're looking for. You want to find a subject material. You want to find a topic that there are books being written, and there's a certain, at least a few of them that are selling at a pretty brisk pace. That there is demand for this. So this is something that is very much it's a question that people want to learn about.
Well, I equate this to how many times you see Home Depot and Lowe's just down the street from each other, or how many times do you see Walmart and Target just a few blocks from each
Right.
other, or how many times, I mean, think about all the restaurants we go to in our communities. They're piled up in a certain area, right?
Right.
Like it's people go out to eat. So now restaurants want to be where people go to
Right.
eat,
And they want to be in those pockets where people are going.
right.
Right.
So I think it's very similar when you think about it from an online space or on Amazon, like you're talking about.
Right. We know people are going in this area to go out to eat, so let's make sure we're in there. Right.
Right. We
Exactly.
want to be
So
one of their options.
right, exactly. And they know how to find us because they're already looking in there in the first place.
Yep.
Exactly. So you have that. Another way of doing it is to go on to Google, either Google Trends or Google Keyword Planner. And what you can do is you can type in some of the keywords that are that a person who is your target customer might be searching for. You can go in and say, okay, if I was my prospect, I would be typing in this phrase. And you could type it in. And if you see like there's 1,000 searches a month worldwide for this, boy, that's not a good sign.
Right.
With 7 billion plus people on the world,
Right.
if only 1,000 of them are searching for those words every month,
Right.
that's bad.
Yeah.
But you want to keep doing a variety of searches. You want to come up with a variety of words and phrases to see, well, how many people search for this term? You want to find those terms that, that's what people look for.
Mhm.
That's a phrase that's important to them. That's how they're searching for this. They're looking for help on this. Okay, so I can create a course that deals with these phrases, and I can position my course to talk about solving these things that they're already searching for. So you want to, again, I always heard people say, we need to be able to generate traffic for our offers and create traffic for them. Well, that's really a lie. The traffic already exists. All you need to do is divert the traffic.
Mhm.
But your problem is if you can divert the traffic that's already there to your offer, you can get lots of people to buy. The problem is that a lot of people are trying to divert traffic that doesn't exist.
Mhm.
So if no one is out there searching for this, if no one is out there buying books on this, if no one is looking to have help in this topic, you can build the most amazing course in the world, but nobody cares.
Right.
Because when you go and try and divert traffic to your sales page or to your webinar or whatever it is, ain't nobody in that stream.
Right.
You're trying to divert water from a stream that's dry.
Yeah.
So it isn't going to matter. So you have to first know, does the stream have a good current going? Does it have a lot of water? Does it have a lot of strength to that stream? So when I try and divert traffic off of it, there's something there. And then the last thing that I would say about this part is you need to know how weighty the problem is. And what do I mean by that? Simply put, how important is it that this problem gets addressed and solved? Or how important is it that this goal gets achieved? And you just need to ask yourself that question, because, if this is something that, yeah, it would be nice if I could do this, then people are not going to be terribly motivated to spend money on it.
Right.
But if people are like, I need to do this, this has become a big problem in my life, I need to solve this, and I am in pain because it's a problem and because it's unsolved and because I can't get it done, now their motivation to solve it goes up exponentially. Now their motivation to pay for a solution goes up significantly. So you have to think about that. Is this a problem that is weighty? How much pressure is on them because this is unsolved?
Yeah.
How much is this keeping them up at night? How much are they keeping this thought in their head and saying, oh, I got to do this, but I can't figure it out, and it's driving me crazy? So,
well, and a good example of this is actually something you created for a course for creating book funnels to sell books, because what do authors think about, right? They think, how do I sell more books? How do I get my book in front of more people? And too many people put it on Amazon and hope for the best, right? Because they don't know that there's a better way, and you need to do more and different. You can keep it on Amazon. I tell people all the time, like, my book's on Amazon. That's not how I sell the majority of my books. My books are sold through other avenues, and a book funnel is a course is what you created to help people. And so once again, if you just said everybody needs a book funnel, but they didn't feel the pain of you had to address a pain point, right?
Right. I'm not selling books. Right.
Right. Like I'm an author. I put all this time, energy, and attention into this, and I just have a box of books sitting in the corner of my guest bedroom that I can't sell.
Right.
That's a big pain point for authors who spent that time to write those books, and so you create a course, and as a plug, right? People can go to bookfunnelinabox.com and watch your free training about this to understand it, because this is a great kind of segmenting or kind of segueing from this is this is the kind of way to get your course out in front of people too, is do a free training like that. But you have helped a lot of people develop these funnels so that when somebody comes and learns about their book, there's also other offers that can be attached to that. But once again, you thought through that strategically after working with thousands of authors and hearing their pain points and seeing issues, right?
Right. And that was exactly it. I knew that authors are coming to me, and that, writing a book is not for someone who truly writes a book and doesn't just pop something into AI and chat GPT and say, create a book for me. Most people spend a year on it, or more. They spend, because they're working on it on the side. They're not full-time authors, and they're writing and writing and writing, trying to pull all this stuff together. And it takes a lot of time researching. It turns a lot of time crafting the narrative and the story, or however it is that you're writing this thing. And you're like, how am I ever going to get this done? How am I ever going to figure this out? Well, guess what? You just have to have a strategy that works to allow you to sell books. And so putting your book on Amazon isn't going to do it, because like I said, there's 4 million new books every year on Amazon, and that doesn't count the books from last year and the year before and the year before.
It's compounding.
Right. So there's tens of millions of books sitting out there. And the problem is that your book goes in there and it may be an outstanding book.
Right.
This is not a comment on the quality of your book. You're just like a minnow in an ocean. And how can people find you?
Yeah.
In this massive ocean of other books, people have a hard time even finding you, because there's millions of other books floating out in the ocean, and that everybody gets, if you're not on Barnes and Noble shelves, which obviously if you're going to a Barnes and Noble bookstore to look for books, you're seeing a teeny fraction of the books that are available.
Right.
So, it's far less than 0.1% of all the books.
Well, I just doing a quick search while you're talking. Amazon currently lists 32.8 million books for sale.
Yeah.
And that's just, like you said, that's just growing. In 2024, you said it would, like, there's 4 million books in 2024 that have been on Amazon.
And I expect those numbers to just keep going up.
Right.
Like you said, with AI and everything else. So there has to be that solution that they're really like. And so authors write a book and they're dying because I put all this work into it. And the average author only sells 250 copies. And they're like, what? I did all this work and that's all I get. Like, no one even cares.
And not only has that work been, I mean, like you said, it takes a year or two or whatever for people to write the book, but the authors we know that are trying to help, people with a serious topic of any kind, that's a lifetime of lessons essentially that they're trying to package in a book to help people, right? It's not just a 1 or 2 year thing. It's like, I've spent 30 or 40 or 50 years of my life, and now I'm going to write this book to help people navigate and fix this problem and address this challenge. And I think the same, like, we've kind of gone towards the book side of this, but, of course, right, is what we're talking about today from an online side is it's the same thing, right? The lessons we learn, the thing, even the things like you mentioned, I was speaking and I had conversations during my presentation with some leaders and after the presentation, kind of on those, people are like kind of pulling me to the side saying, how would you help with this or this situation? And it's like, I have to pay attention to that because that's a pain point for executives who are dealing with this, that I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how do I address that from a course or a training of some kind that's going to help these leaders in a multiplied way? And am I hearing it enough, right? If it's one person, that's one thing, like you said, but if it's repeated over and over and over again, then I feel like, okay, now I've got a problem to address that I can address for these people. Now there's a theme. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So once you do that, this is important. This has to be dealt with. This has to be addressed. And then the next thing is, what else is out there?
Yeah.
Now you need to understand, well, what other options do people have for solving this? There's always another option out there. And this is something that an example that I always like to use because I think it has a wide range. Let's say you have back pain.
Right.
And you're suffering, like your back is really hurting. It's really sore. How are you going to solve it? Well, and you may be saying, well, I'm a chiropractor. I can solve it. Well, guess what? That's not the only game in town when it comes to solving back pain.
Right.
There's heating pads. There's Advil. There's stretching exercises. There's YouTube that you could go on and research how to do a variety of things to help your back. There's these massage guns that you can get.
Yeah. What are the things? Is it inversion tables where you turn upside down?
Inversion tables where you to turn yourself. My brother had one of those and helped him out a lot for a while. You can go to your regular, general practitioner and have him help you. There could be shots that can be given to help. There could be back surgery if you need, like if you have a blown disc or something. There's a lot of different ways of dealing with back pain. So now when you're looking at your offer, the problem that you're looking to solve, you need to ask yourself, how are people currently trying to solve this? And you need to be honest and come up with all the do-it-yourself ways. Like, sometimes how do people solve back pain? Well, sometimes they get the heating pad and they stay in bed for the day. Sometimes it's as simple as that. My back really hurts. I can get some heat on it. I'm going to get in a good position to lay down so it doesn't hurt. Get a lot of heat on it and rest. And a lot of times deals with back pain. And so you need to be able to understand, how are my people currently trying to solve this? Then you need to look at those methods and just be honest. They're doing this, this, and this. Then you need to look at those methods and saying, do they work?
Yeah.
And maybe they work part of the time. Maybe they work, like, sometimes, all you do need is to put some heat on your back and lay in bed and rest for a while. But if you got a serious back issue, that ain't going to solve it,
Right.
That's only like if you like
you're treating symptoms, but not the problem. Ultimately,
that helps if you're sore. But again, you have to be able to understand, as it relates to the topic of your course, what are all these options? What are all the choices that people have? How are they currently trying to address this issue? How are they currently trying to solve it? And then you need to analyze those options and pick out the gaps. For example, they may be there may be some, again, if you're using a heating pad and laying in bed for the day and resting, okay, that may help, but it's not going to help if you have a blown disc.
Right.
It's not going to solve your problem. It's just delaying the inevitable. That only helps if you have just a sore back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually did something like more serious,
Right.
heating pad and resting in bed ain't going to do it. So you need to be able to know in every circumstance, in every situation, when each of these solutions is inadequate.
Yeah.
You need to understand the gaps. And again, sometimes it's as simple as there are self-serve type options where you can go like, this is the do-it-yourself option. Okay, do-it-yourself option, but that means that no one's there to help me. And sometimes these things get complicated and I need someone to help me because I don't know what to do.
Right.
It's like I learned a long time ago, going to the gym. If I had done that just by myself, I would hurt myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I didn't know it, especially when I first started. I had no clue what I'm doing. And then there's like, well, or I could hire a trainer to say, hey, this is the right way to do a workout. This is how you hit all these different muscles. This is how you don't become imbalanced. This is how, and all of a sudden my eyes started getting open like, holy smokes, if I had done this by myself.
Yeah, you could have done damage.
I would have done probably as much damage as good because I don't know what I'm doing. And so the same thing is like on all these self-serve options. Yeah, they're cheaper, but they don't provide a lot of service. Or on the other side, you can have these full serve options where they do most everything for you. But the problem is they're so expensive that most people have struggled to even afford them. Yeah. So where does your solution fit in? And usually a course can be something in the middle where, or on the low to middle side where it's more of here, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll show you how to do everything. I'll give you the tools. I'll give you the resources that you need to be able to do it. And, I'm going to really lay it out for you. But then you need to understand like, hey, and so when you're marketing and communicating, you can say, hey, I know some of you are trying to solve the problem this way. Like some of you authors are trying to sell your books on Amazon. And that will get you a few sales. But when there's, what did you say, Chris? 34 million?
Yeah, 32.8, I think, right now.
32.8 million books on Amazon.
And growing.
And growing exponentially. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's kind of like playing Powerball as a financial strategy. It really is. You're hoping to have the winning ticket. The number of best-selling authors, and when I use that term, I mean legitimate best-selling authors, not the scammers out there who are faking their bestsellers, and buying their own books and calling themselves, bestsellers.
Right.
But people who are legitimately getting bestseller status is 0.000000001%.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want your strategy to be based on that?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's not a good strategy. So you need
to even searching for courses on the internet, right? Like that's even worse, honestly, because the internet's way broader than Amazon. Amazon has a lot of products, obviously, but there's still people go to Amazon to search for things like the mall.
Right.
But if you're just searching the internet in general,
there's a whole lot of other stuff out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition out there.
Right. And that's where you got to understand what your competition is. And you got to understand the strengths and the weaknesses. You got to identify the gaps. Where do they fall short? Where do they fall short? Where do they fall short? So you know how to position yourself as the best value. Mm-hmm. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, yeah, you could do these things, but this is the best value, the best bang for your buck. The amount of money that you spend versus what you're going to get, this is the best deal for you. So you do that so you can say, honestly, this is the best option. And then lastly, the thing that you have to do is you have to show that you have a different way of solving the problem.
Yeah.
Because if your way sounds just like everyone else's way of solving the problem, now it's just like who's cheapest. Mm-hmm. It's like going and buying gasoline for your car.
Right.
You're not looking at it and going, oh, where's the XYZ station? I only buy gas from them. Right. No. You're looking at it going, okay, they're that much, they're 5 cents cheaper. We're going there. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we're looking at. I mean, we're just driving down the road looking, and we even have the little apps like Gas Buddy that tell us even where do I go to get the cheapest gas because I don't want to pay any more than I have to because it's all the same.
Right.
You have to find a way to position your offer so that people will listen to it and go, that's why I haven't, nothing else has worked.
Right.
And there are three ways that you can do that. One is that you have to have a unique process that no one else is doing. Like you've actually you're solving this problem in a way that no one else is solving it. Like you're actually doing something. Like when McDonald's came out with a speedy system of creating meals for people, they had this thing so streamlined that when people came up, they were, instead of waiting 45 minutes to get their food, they were getting their food in a minute.
Right.
And it revolutionized the whole restaurant industry. And people were like, whoa, you have a unique process that is different from everyone else. I can come in here when I'm in a hurry, get my food right away, and keep going. And so it's revolutionized it. Do you have a way of solving a problem that is very different from everyone else? That's usually the least common way, because you truly have to have a revolutionary way of doing things. And that usually doesn't last very long because other people see what you're doing and they start copying and emulating what you've done. The next approach is you have to take the process that other people are using, but you know that I have to emphasize certain steps in the process more than what other people are doing. So like, okay, maybe we're all doing generally the same 5 steps, but I know that if you spend the majority of your time on step number 3, that's where all the meat is.
Yeah.
That's where you actually, if you focus the most of your time on step 3, that's where you're going to get the best result. And I know that when I look at these other options, they don't put enough time on that.
Yeah.
And that really happens like in coaching type services and those types of things. Like we just go through similar processes, but if I don't spend enough time on this part,
right,
I never get the answer. And so maybe your solution spends the right amount of time there and really goes deeper in that one spot and says, no, this is where you're going to find your answer. And as a result, you give a much better solution than everyone else. And then the last way of doing this is simply to brand your solution and say, we use the proprietary, David and Chris methodology to get you this result.
Right.
And that way you've named it. You've given it an identity. You've set, this is our proprietary methodology for doing this. So we developed, that we created. And even if it has some similarities to what other people are doing, you've got your own nuances and differences in there. Right. You can say our way is doing it, and no one else can claim that because you've now put a label on it and said, this is our brand, and this is our proprietary way of doing this. And so everyone say, okay, that is different than everyone else. You've got your own customized way of developing a solution. And no matter what you do, you should always do that.
Yeah.
That should always be on there because you can always say, I have the, Chris McClure leadership methodology, and no one else can come in. Well, I also have the Chris McClure leadership. Like, what? No, you don't. He's Chris McClure. He's the only one that has that. So it's his. Yeah. And people can clearly identify that's yours. I can't copy that.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then, once you've done that, once you've set yourself apart, now it's time to just get out there and communicate your message. Yeah. And now you have something that's unique. You're solving a problem that's important. You know how to differentiate yourself from everyone else, and you know how to set yourself apart by being unique.
Yeah.
Now is when you do your marketing. Now is when you send your traffic to your pages. Now is when it will work to run ads. Now is when it'll work to do social media campaigns, to send a list out, email it to your list, because it's positioned correctly.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think with all this, I mean, it's so important. It's like you said, it's bigger than just putting a course together, right? You have to begin with the end in mind. I was actually interviewed the other day about books, because I've written 2 books, and people were asking about, what I've done to promote my book and sell my book and everything. And it just makes me, one of the questions was, well, where would you tell like a beginning author, and in this case, a beginning course creator, where to start? And my answer is the same for both. It's on anything you're creating, is begin with the end in mind, right? Who are you wanting to help? What is their problem? Like you mentioned at the very beginning, and how is your methodology different than somebody else's? Because it's so easy to get lost in the sea of options these days out in the world. But when you build your brand, like you just mentioned, if you build it your methodology, there's actually a doctor in our area who does weight loss work with people. Weight Watchers has been around for decades now, right? Weight Watchers is one of those, common brands out there for people when they think about losing weight. He's doing something different, and I hear radio ads about him. I've met him a couple times, and he has a different proprietary process. And I'm seeing results with people that I know are his patients
Right.
that are way better than what I've seen people who have done the Weight Watchers program for many years, even, right? So,
And people believe this is unique. Maybe this is the thing that I need.
correct.
Maybe this is the solution I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Because he's done the marketing correctly.
Yeah. And yeah, he's doing, there's a lot of things that I think he's doing well with this from a marketing and advertising standpoint, but I'm also seeing the results, from the people that I know are some of his patients. And so when you then have that, right, when you've taken the time to do all the things that you've talked about today, David, and really been thoughtful about this, then you have something that's really significant. I know something we've also talked about before that we was kind of highlighted by Alex Hermosi was, how do you help people get fast and easy results? That speed and ease is really important, because people don't buy a course because they just have hours they want to spend watching a course. They're trying to solve that problem. So how can you help me with my problem or my need as quickly and as easily as possible? When you can figure that part out, then you're really cooking, because people are like, hey, there's all these options, but David's process gets me results in a very quick time, and it's easy to implement.
Right.
That type of thing is huge for people.
I agree. And that's the answer that everyone's looking for. How can you help me get there and not make it so complicated and hard?
Yeah.
And if you do that, suddenly people are going, really? Okay, I'll be part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're on.
Well, think about the difference, even like, and we've used, about drilling holes. You go to Home Depot or Lowe's, there are those hand crank drills.
Right.
But there's also the power drills,
Right.
and which one is going to
I
get
can
you
stand
effective?
here for the next hour sweating and having my hands start to get blisters on it, drilling
Yeah.
a hole, or I can just go
Yeah.
and be done. Right.
Or there's nail guns versus hammers and nails. I mean, both have uses, but
Right.
the bottom line is there's options out there for people.
Right.
So how can you be the best option for people in your market becomes the question. And so work through this process. Think about how, because once again, our topic today is how you can really turn your online course into a passive income stream. Well, you do that by making it attractive, making it valuable, making it the obvious answer, against all the other options out there. And folks, if you need help with that, check out designlaunchgrow.com. This is what we do with our clients. We help you design it from the front end so that it's going to help you sell it easier on the back end. And, we help you really work through that process of designing it, then figuring out how you market it to launch it. And then ultimately, how can you reach more people to scale it and grow it? That's what we do. We have weekly coaching calls. We've added a monthly faith building call to help you in the entrepreneurial mindset side of things and keep going when you face challenges. But also now we have a speaker and communication lane to help you communicate well online and offline about what you have to offer. So we just continue to try to package what we're doing in a way that's going to help meet those various needs as an entrepreneur to build your business, whether you're a coach, whether you're a course creator, whether you're a speaker and trainer. Check it out. We'd love to help you, and we'd love to have you be part of our community. So designlaunchgrow.com is where you learn that information. And other than that, David, any final words as we wrap up today?
No, I mean, this is the stuff that most people don't think about. And as a result, then they go and try and run ads, or they try and do social media promotions, and it doesn't work. And then they wonder, why doesn't it work? Well, it's because you didn't do the things that we talked about today.
Yeah.
And like when you do these things and you position yourself correctly, just like that doctor you're talking about who's now advertising, and all these people are like, yeah, I'll do that. Well, he's probably more expensive than Weight Watchers.
Oh, I would guarantee it.
And yet he's charging more money for a similar service and having success doing it. because he did the things that we talked about here. I can
Right.
tell exactly from what you're saying, he's done all the things.
Mm-hmm.
From what you told me right there, yep, he did all the things we just talked about. And when you
Yep.
do that, that's how you turn these things into passive streams of income.
Yeah.
Is because now you're positioned in a way that it will work.
Yeah.
So when you run your traffic to it, you'll get results.
Yeah.
So if we can help you out with that, we would love to.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, we'll see you next time.